Swine flu is making me sick. Now, don't worry, I don't mean that literally. I mean that in the sense of, well, if you haven't lived under a rock for the past few months, you certainly are aware of the blatant overkill in the media coverage of a possible swine flu pandemic. And I'll be honest, it's just ridiculous now. Every single news bulletin, on every channel, they talk about swine flu, even on days where there's nothing new to say, so they just re-roll old reports from the day before, or 2 days before even. I've even seen at one point a report that aired on Friday, and then it aired all weekend and into Monday. I'm not making this up, folks. This is just terrible. And what's more insulting to my intelligence is the fact that they feel the need to advertise the fact that they're going to talk about it on every news bulletin, even when there's nothing new to say. So the purpose of this is just blatant. It's to instill fear into the minds of the stupid common people so that everyone will always be tuned into their news bulletin. So the motto is this: watch our TV shows, read our newspapers, and buy our magazines. That's it. Money. Now, I'm not going to hold the fact that private corporations are trying to make money against them, because that's the whole purpose of their existence, to make money. But to make the people paranoid about something like swine flu, that is just, in my opinion, unacceptable. And it's because, well, we were hearing so much different stuff from various sources, and the media seemed to be doing a pretty lousy job of actually sorting out what's true and what's not. And that's probably because there are as many versions of the story as there are TV channels and newspapers and everything else, because everyone is just on the hunt for ratings, and paranoia is the best way by far to make people buy their magazines and newspapers and TV shows. And people are stupid. They just swallow it whole. You've probably seen it by now. There are people who wear masks everywhere they go. Now, I know that usually I don't comment on general news on this LP, but this just pisses me off so much that I really felt the need to vent here. And it's not like the authorities are doing a better job of telling the populace what is real and giving them the time of day. Why, no later than today, our wonderful Minister of Health here in Quebec claimed that as much as a third of the population could be affected by swine flu at some point this winter. 1 in 3 people. He would have said 1 in 30, and I would have said, wow, that's a lot. But 1 in 3, that is just a pipe dream. But, of course, it's definite fodder for the media, who are going to eat it up and repeat it over and over and over. You got a 1 in 3 chance of getting swine flu. Okay, that's enough of this. So moving on from the swine flu virus to the T-virus, which is admittedly a much more interesting subject to talk about. Well, it's been quite a long time since the last Speed Gamers Marathon. Well, it was way back in the middle of August, and so much has happened since then. I think I've made like at least 40 videos for this LP in such a short amount of time. That's a lot. And yes, their next one is going to be for Halloween. It's going to be, well, as I said before with the whole T-virus thing, it's going to be a Resident Evil marathon. They will be playing 0 through 5, as well as Gaiden and Code Veronica. And it's going to be 48 hours long this time, not the standard 3-day length. So yeah, it's going to begin on October 30th at the same hour as usual. That is 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. And it's a good thing that Halloween is falling right in the middle of the marathon, because they had the idea of, well, I think that's true anyway. That sounds like the kind of thing you'd say as a joke, but it does seem true since it's on the related news post and all. They're going to be hiding a camera in a pumpkin to spy on incoming trick-or-treaters. As you can see, as I said, it's the kind of thing you'd say as a joke, but never underestimate the power of the speed gamers to do all kinds of crazy stunts to draw attention and donations. Speaking of donations, this marathon is going to be for the Diabetes, Wellness, and Research Foundation. Or is it Research and Wellness? Well, it doesn't really matter. And yeah, this one was a popular request by the community on the forums. So this one's for us, apparently. Well, it makes sense that so many people would suggest it anyway, because diabetes is so common that... Okay, hang on a second. Oh yeah, okay, so that's a little shortcut to this item that the map wasn't too clear on. So, yeah, I thought I had to go to the ladder, then go south and surf back to the item, and then go back to the ladder, but as it turned out, I just had to jump off this ledge, then I'm going to surf back to the ladder. But yeah, as I was saying, everyone knows someone who suffers from diabetes, so it makes sense that a lot of people would suggest diabetes as a cause to raise money for. And will this finally be the marathon where they cross the $100,000 line in total donations over all their marathons? We are currently over 90,000! But with just a little more, we can go into 6-digit land, which, well, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but it definitely looks good. We raised over $100,000. But yeah, if you like Resident Evil, definitely show up, and if you don't like Resident Evil or don't care about it, well, show up nonetheless, because those guys sure know how to make anything watchable. I personally have trouble going to sleep whenever there's a marathon on, just because the things are just so addictive. That, and I'm still pissed that I missed the entirety of Final Fantasy VI because I was sleeping the whole time. Stupid Final Fantasy II and its stupid system that forces you to grind for hours on end. Ugh. Well, at least I had something to talk about during this time, because the encounter rate in this place is a lot higher than I remembered, and I really had to restrain myself to not complain about the encounter rate here at the same time that I was complaining about the media coverage of swine flu. That would have been an explosive cocktail that wouldn't have been too good for my head. Now it's mailbag time! You know, I've always said that there was a point where having too much of a fan base would be too much for me to bear and I'd have to quit LPing. Well, while we definitely haven't reached that point yet, I think we crossed another stage in recent days, because there was one fella in particular that seems to be really interested in me and my private life. He wants to know my real name, which is obviously top secret, and he wanted to see a picture of me as well, which is top secret as well. I mean, I like being anonymous over the internet. I like being Slowflake instead of... Whoops! Almost said it! Anyway, moving on. In the comments section for the last video, someone mentioned the worst review of Hard Gold and Soul Silver ever! And that's the kind of thing that I really, honestly don't want to see. The kid honestly had no idea that the series existed before Ruby and Sapphire. He apparently called Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald Pokemon 1, Fire Red and Leaf Green Pokemon 2, Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum Pokemon 3, and Heart Gold and Silver Pokemon 4. And apparently he thinks that the entire series has one story and that all the games are connected in some way. Well, it's hard to fathom thinking that about Pokemon, so imagine something like Final Fantasy, the poor guy's head would explode. Nonetheless, don't link to this review if you've seen it, please. I want to keep my sanity, because as I said in the comments section in the last video, just seeing it would probably put me in a catatonic state that would make Amy Winehouse look normal. Okay, this bad boy here is going to be the last casualty for today. Next time we meet and fight the Karate Master.